With all of the different workout routines, supplements, and secret techniques being touted all over the internet, building muscle as a naturally skinny guy can get a bit overwhelming, because while our instincts are to follow everything the big jack guys are doing in the gym, in most cases it's the reason we're stuck and confused with little results to show for our efforts. Take it from a former skinny guy himself. If you continue to do what most skinny guys do, you'll never maximize your results in the gym. So take a moment to forget everything you've learned in the past, because in reality, there's only a handful of things to focus on that will give you 80% of the results. With this in mind, I created 5 training tips to help skinny guys bulk up fast. If you apply each of these 5 things, or even just one of them, you'll accelerate muscle growth and end up much closer to achieving your dream body. Tip number 1. Focus on compound lifts. First, what's the difference between a compound lift and an isolation exercise? A compound lift is a multi-joint exercise that works multiple muscles at one time. An isolation exercise is generally a single joint exercise focusing on one single muscle. The thing about compound exercises is that they'll help you get to your goals faster. Compound exercises hit more muscles at once, can be used in a variety of rep ranges, and are easier to use for progressive overload. Let's compare a compound exercise like the bench press with a chest fly. When you perform a chest fly, you're isolating the chest muscles, but when you perform a bench press, you not only hit your pecs, but your shoulders, triceps, and other muscles as well. Compound movements are also more versatile. While the bench press can be performed for sets of 3 to 5 reps on heavy days or sets of 10 to 15 on lighter days, chest flies can pretty much only be comfortably done with sets above 10 reps. Going off the last point, progressive overload is simply hard to do for high rep sets. But when you do sets of 5, for example, it will be much easier to lift more weight and thus increase demands on your body. This has been clearly shown in research time and time again. Take this 2015 study published in Physiological Reports. They compared 2 groups working out 4 times per week. One group performed 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps, while the other group performed the same number of sets for less reps with heavier weight. Not only did the lower rep group gain more muscle mass than the higher rep group, but their bench press 1 rep max increased by 14.8% compared to only 6.9%. This isn't to say that we should ignore isolation exercises or higher rep training completely, but rather that heavy compound lifts should be the focal point of your training, as they will be responsible for the majority of your progress. Tip number 2. Do full body workouts. According to research by McDougall and colleagues, muscle protein synthesis just doesn't last that long. After a mere 36 hours, muscle protein synthesis returns to almost baseline levels. This means when you hit a muscle like the chest, for example, you're only building muscle in that area for a couple of days. And if you don't hit your chest again until next week, that's 5 days without significant muscle growth in the pecs. This helps explain why Dr. Brad Schoenfeld published clear research showing that hitting your muscles at least 2 times per week is optimal for muscle growth in natural lifters. So ditch the bro splits and follow a proven training program that allows you to hit each muscle group more frequently. For beginners, full body workouts 3 times per week are a simple, proven way to pack on your first 20 pounds of muscle. And while you might assume that more is better, it's not always the case. Let's look at this study published in the International Journal of Sports Physiology and Performance, where they studied 37 participants doing 5, 10, 15, or 20 sets per muscle per week. According to the study, those doing 5 to 10 sets per muscle per week actually got the best results. In other words, there is a such thing as too much volume, and it will hinder your results, especially as a skinny guy who tends to do more than your body can handle, which is why full body workouts work so well. They limit how much volume you can perform for a single muscle per workout, which means you'll be fresh and ready to perform at your best every time. If you're looking for a done-for-you program that hits each muscle 2 times per week, you can grab a copy of my book, Bulk Up Fast. The book has already been paid for. All you have to do is cover the small shipping fee. Just click the link in the description, tell me where to ship it, and I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. Tip number 3, progression. Rather than focusing on doing more sets and lots of high rep fluff work like sets of 15 on the chest press, focus on progressive overload with compound movements. In other words, aim to get progressively stronger each time you step foot in the gym. And before you say that your goal is to build muscle and not strength, consider this. A 2014 study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research compared doing 3 sets of 10 versus 7 sets of 3. If you guessed that the 3x10 group gained more muscle, you'd be wrong. Not only did the 7x3 group gain the same amount of muscle as the group doing 3x10, but they also gained significantly more strength. And because progressive overload is the main pathway by which we build muscle, it makes sense to focus on strength when the goal is actually hypertrophy. Again, this isn't to say you should completely avoid high rep training, but rather that you should focus on getting progressively stronger, which is easier done with heavier loads. Tip number 4, rest longer. According to muscle hypertrophy research, there are 3 major mechanisms through which we build muscle: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and muscle damage. Metabolic stress is essentially the chemical changes that occur when blood and metabolites rush to your muscles. Believe it or not, this contributes to muscle growth. But according to research, the effect of metabolite training wears off as your lactate threshold increases after a few weeks. That's why it's a good idea to have periods of more metabolic stress, but to keep it as a tool secondary to getting stronger. This is supported by more research by Dr. Brad Schoenfeld comparing long and short rest periods. He compared groups doing 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps across 7 exercises for 3 workouts per week. One group rested for 1 minute in between sets, while the other group rested for 3 minutes. The results of the study suggested that the longer rest periods resulted in both more muscle and strength. So if you're a skinny guy who's chasing the pump and keeping rest periods short, I suggest you start resting a bit longer between sets, as this will improve your performance and ultimately accelerate muscle growth. A simple guideline would be as follows. If you're performing compound exercises with heavier loads, say 5 to 8 reps, try resting for 2 to 3 minutes in between sets. If you're further into your workout and doing isolation work for 12 to 15 reps, 60 to 90 seconds of rest should suffice. Tip number 5, consistency. The best plan is the one you can stick to. If you keep falling off your plan or even just miss a workout or 2 every couple of weeks, it can and will impact your results. All these fitness channels, including mine, give you all these different methods and pieces of advice, but nothing matters if you're not consistent. If you look at the muscle and strength training pyramid created by Dr. Eric Helms, you can see that adherence is at the base of the pyramid. So before you even consider something like which exercises to do or how fast to do a rep, you need to make sure you have a plan you can stick to. Ideally, your program would be something that fits your schedule and that you enjoy. Even with a terrible plan in which you do the opposite of everything I teach, you can still make progress if you stick with it and keep pushing hard. Then, along the way, you can make adjustments to optimize your plan, but nothing will happen unless you're consistent. So, there you have it. 5 training tips to bulk up fast for skinny guys. Apply these 5 strategies and you'll have no problem transforming your physique. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below as it'll truly help out the channel. Are you looking for a complete, done-for-you training and nutrition guide guaranteed to add slabs of muscle to your frame in the next 90 days? Then claim your free copy of my book, Bulk Up Fast. The book has already been paid for. All you have to do is cover the small shipping fee. Just click the link in the description, tell me where to ship it, and I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Peace.